What's up, guys? Brad here from Piney Grove, and we love sharing our experiences out here on our property and the machines, the tractors, the implements, the attachments we use to upgrade, maintain, and just in general work our land out here. So we jumped at the chance to work with GoodWorks Tractor. We got a message from Courtney, and he said, I'd like to send you some pieces of equipment, attachments, implements, and have you feature them on your channel and just expose my products to maybe a different audience and also help you out there on your farm. So we said, certainly, where do we sign? And he put some things on a pallet Monday up in Michigan, and Friday they arrived down here in a semi truck. We unloaded them with the Kubota tractor, and we got several things to share with you. Now, this is a quick hitch, and this quick hitch has brackets for ballast weight. And I got a separate video on that. I'll link it down below. You can learn all about that. But that's not the only thing he sent. Let's look at some of the other items. So I've known Courtney over there at GoodWorks Tractor for a couple years. In fact, he was the first YouTube channel to show the Summit tractor. And after his contract was over, we actually picked up the contract with Summit. So now it's here on our channel. But when we got the Summit tractor, I called him just to learn about it, to learn about his experiences with it. And he's an honest, straightforward guy, just a great guy to do business with. But on the Summit tractor, it comes integrated with mirrors. And you can see these mirrors go right into the hood here. And they're removable, but you can't move them anywhere else. And I was a little bit skeptical about mirrors on a tractor because I'm in the woods a lot. But I've found I've never torn these mirrors off, and I like them to see what's coming, what's behind me. Real easy to do with the mirrors. Also, it's easier for backing in. You can't always have your head looking backwards. You can look in the mirror and see how close something is behind you, like if you're pulling it into the shed and there's other equipment in there. But what I really like about it is we have to mow on a county road out here, and I can see if cars are approaching from the rear, and I can kind of move off the road a little bit just to make myself a little safer. So I found over time I like mirrors on a tractor. Well, I'm in luck because GoodWorks Tractor features mirrors. Now, they do have a bolt-on set of mirrors, but I asked for the magnetic mirrors. So let's take a look at them and see how they work. Very little assembly with most of the equipment that Courtney sent over here, but this requires you to bolt the magnet on. They come just stuck to the metal, and also bolt on the mirror. Comes in a nice little package, and that's it. Once you put it together, you can either put it on your hood like that, tilt it up at yourself, and you get a wide view. Or what I've done is I put it on the side of my loader arms here, kind of cheated it more towards me so that I have room where I can twist it. And if I put it like that, I can see down the side of my tractor and about half the side of my body with this one. Mirror on the other side does the same thing. And also it shows me the canopy above. So if I'm going by any trees when I'm mowing, I can see if the branches are going to maybe hit my ROPS here or possibly damage my expensive cool tops. So when you're on a tractor facing forward, once the branch gets past your head, you don't know what it's doing. So with these mirrors, I can just look up there, and if the branch might harm the tractor, I can cut it off or back up or get out of the way. So we're real happy to have these magnetic mirrors for the tractor, but there's something that I have up here on the front of the tractor that I want to show you that I think is a really, really good idea. And one of those things you didn't know that you needed until you got it. When I first got a compact tractor, it was about 20 years ago, and they didn't have the versatility that they have now. They've got so many more functions than they used to have. My first, I think, 3 Kubotas, yes, because this is the first one that I've ever had with a skid steer quick attach, and the Summit comes with it. But back when I was buying tractors and doing food plots and stuff like that, they were pin-on buckets. So you just had a bucket up here. And if you wanted to do anything with the front of your tractor, you used a bucket because it didn't come off easily. And there wasn't a whole bunch of either OEM or aftermarket implements or attachments for the front of your tractor. But that has changed. Nowadays, you can get just about anything you want to run on the front of your tractor, to run either mechanically or hydraulically. And one thing that I didn't know I needed until I got them when I bought this tractor, it came with a set of pallet forks. They're Land Pride pallet forks, and they're built very similar to these right here, which came with the Summit tractor. Now, these pallet forks have the skid steer quick attach socket on the back of them, just like what I'm going to show you over here, called the Versa forks from Goodworks Tractor. The forks are adjustable, so you just push them out or in. You can even get them where they're hydraulically actuated, where they go in and out depending on how wide the load is you're trying to pick up. But that's about all you can do with them. You can't really do anything else with them. You can take off these, but I don't know of anything that fits on this that will do anything else. Well, that's changed with these Goodworks Versa forks. I have not used this. It just came out of the box. So all of my commentary is going to be based on what I see and what I know from using forks in different types of attachments on the front of your tractor over the years. But I pulled up to them with the Kubota tractor. I hooked into them just like regular forks. I just had the frame sitting here on the concrete. I put down my locking levers and they're on here. So you go, big deal. You got pallet forks. What's so special about them? Well, there's one amazing thing about them is that they not only go on the front of your tractor, but they go on the rear of your tractor. And I can't show you the bracket yet, but I will. But it's got this bracket here that if you pull the pin, it'll let down the 3-point hitch lift pins, and you can put it on back of your tractor. This hole right here is for your top link, and you could run forks on back of your tractor when you have the bucket on the front. You may say, well, why would I ever need that? Well, maybe you got a hay spear on the front and you want some forks on the back. You could put hay on the back, or you got the bucket on the front. You want some weight on the back. You could have those pallet forks on the rear. You could pick up a pallet full of weight and you could have ballast. It just gives you more options. It makes them more versatile. The versatility doesn't stop there. So up top here we have a hole where you can put a ball for like a gooseneck trailer or something, so you can move that around. And then it also has hooks welded on it. And I know that just about every time I move something with a pallet, it's kind of a unsteady load, and I end up wrapping over here on the summit. I would wrap chains or rope or something around the frame of it to hold the load on. Well, here you've got two hooks. You can just take a chain or even a piece of rope with a knot on it and quickly secure your load. So just little things, but they make a difference when you're trying to work and you don't have to walk back and forth to your shop and get more stuff because this thing's ready to do work. So let's put the forks on here just to show you how easy it is. But there's one more thing that fits on here that we have, and I think it's an awesome piece of machinery. But it works right here on this 2-inch receiver hitch, which I forgot to mention. You can put a 2-inch receiver hitch down here, and then you can move trailers or whatever you need to do with a receiver hitch off the front of your tractor. And of course, it'll be on your back of your tractor too if you put it on a 3-point hitch. I didn't look up the weight capacity of these forks before I started this video, but if you go to Goodworks Tractor website, Courtney's got that dialed in. He makes it so easy. So you put the forks on the top, and in the bottom there's a cutout in the bracket. And once you go and past that cutout, then the forks are locked in. And I mean, I'll be honest with you, I've never had forks slide this easy. And this is my third set of forks that I've had. And I got them when they were new. I don't know if these have different tolerances or I didn't grease the other ones, but they went on really smooth. Okay, now for the first part of the versatility part of these forks. Remember I said it has a 2-inch hitch here, or we're going to show you how else that can be used besides to tow something. We're going to need this in a minute. And all this stuff comes basically pre-assembled. I had to do a little bit of assembly with the pins, I think. I had to tighten them down with an impact wrench. But for the most part, it was just in a box, assembled, spray foamed in, and real thick cardboard, and pretty much, that's nice, pretty much ready to go. Okay, what I'm putting on here is what they call the mini wrecker, or the mini wrecker bucket, or the mini stump digger. And you have an option of getting a longer one, but I didn't want that much leverage on the front of my loader, possibly damaging my loader. This is only a 1,000-pound loader, so I opted for the smaller one. And obviously the forks won't be on here when you use this, but this just goes over top of that lip, just like the forks do, but on the bottom, it's held in place with this receiver plug. So you just line up the holes Put that plug in there. Come around the back side and put your pin in. Put your hairpin in. Now your bucket's on. So it's on there nice and tight now. That's the only thing holding it on the bottom, and it's got the lip holding it on the top. It's got sharp serrated edges here. When you first get this, this is turned inside the bucket so it don't damage packaging, so you just loosen up these 3 bolts. Turn these teeth facing out. Tighten up the bolts. And it's ready to dig up some stumps. Let's see how easy they are to put on the back of the tractor on the 3-point hitch. In the forklift position, your 3-point hitch pin looks like this. And then when you want it to go on the back of your tractor, you rotate that and put the pin in this hole right there. And then put it in your 3-point lift on. And same thing to the other side. Hook up your top link. Now I can see where this would be very useful, or it would be more useful if it had hydraulic top link. Then you could change the angles of the fork, because as I lift this up, the forks are not going to stay level. They're going to change. Their angle's going to change as I lift it up. But that's all it is to it to hook it up to the back of the tractor. Before GoodWorks sent me these, I just hadn't thought about having forks on back of my tractor. But now that they're here, I can think about a bunch of uses for them. And we talked about, you know, having a pallet with some ballast on it, and then you could just back this into that pallet and then have the ballast on the back if you're using your front loader. Also, remember, it's got a place to put a hitch ball here for your gooseneck trailer. So that's part of this as well when it's on back. And it's also got the hooks on it, so you could pull stuff with it with a chain. And they're welded on hooks. I've got those same hooks on the front bucket of my tractor, and I've pulled out tree stumps and fence posts and all sorts of things, and I've never broken them off or bent them. So you've got some other options back here besides just having forks. Now, one thing I was thinking about was, let's say you had your ATV stuck somewhere or it was broke down. That'd be really hard to get in the bucket of your tractor. But if you had this on the back, you could have a pallet. You could put it on top of that pallet and then have the ATV behind you, because a lot of tractors are going to lift more back here than they are going to lift in the front. This tractor will lift about 1,000 pounds in the front. I hate to get it wrong on camera, but I think it's around 3,000 pounds. But regardless, it's a lot more than the front, so you can carry a lot more weight back here. So I can definitely see the benefit of having forks here on the back of the tractor. And even thought about, like, if I had that mini wrecker bucket on the back, could you do things with that? And I guess you could. I guess if you had something on the front of your tractor, I don't know, let's say you had your bucket and you were moving dirt and there was a little stump or something that didn't require a lot of maneuverability to get it out, you could back into it with that mini wrecker stump puller right here, and you could use it on the back of the tractor as well as the front. So there's a lot of good things going on back here that I just hadn't thought of. Now, I was going to end the video right now and sign off and point you to the Piney Grove GoodWorks tractor link down below. But I was thinking, if I was watching this video, I'd want to see that mini wrecker stump bucket in action. I got it swapped over. It only took a minute or so, but there's another feature I wanted to mention. These also have jack stands on them. And what that does is you can put these down here, and when you want to switch from the pallets to the rear, it'll be easier if these were up off the ground a little bit. So you got jack stands or these little legs, and they stow right here on the side, out of the way. No chance of bending them, and one pin pull and you can swap them out. But we got everything fastened. I'm sure we can find a stump to pull out. When I cut these 2 trees down the other day, this one was live, but it had a dead spot in it. But this one was standing dead, and I actually pushed it over a little bit with the tractor, not all the way. If it doesn't come out fairly easy, I'm not going to bend my tractor loader just to close out this video. But I'll give it a shot. I'll work it. I can't see what's happening. It feels like whatever's happening is good though. Now that's impressive. This is the exact way I wanted to end this video. This bucket, this VersaFrame, very versatile, very useful for most people out there that have compact tractors. And this shows how capable it is, because that's a fair size stump. And I would say that's probably the limit of the size of the stump that you want to do. It was putting a lot of strain on the tractor. I actually revved it up to give it a little bit more hydraulic power, and I was in four-wheel drive, and I was trying to square up with it and drive those teeth into the stump, the root, the taproot down here, and try and sever it. So it obviously works. I just would be cautious on trying to dig out a 12-inch oak stump or something. I would save that for excavators. But that's going to wrap it up, guys. Be sure to check out our link down below to GoodWorks Tractor. It will show Courtney out there that our videos are giving more exposure to his equipment, his implements, his attachments. But until next time, y'all take care out there. And remember, life's short, tractor hard, and check out these two videos up here in the corner. They're pretty cool too. Take care, guys. We'll catch you on the next one.